Hit me with the knowledge. Hello noble one and welcome to Metatron's Academy. So what I've got for you today is that I was looking for the oldest recording in history, and ladies and gentlemen, I found two. Alright, so throughout this video we're going to listen to people from the Victorian era. Yeah, let that one sink in. Just to give you perspective, for those who don't remember, the Victorian era is from 1837 to 1901. This recording specifically, if I remember correctly, is from the late 1880s. So, just so you know, if Frédéric Chopin, the pianist, hadn't died young, he could have been alive, and he would have been in his 80s. Just so you know how old this is. And without further ado, let's listen to it. How did they sound? How did they sound?
My lords and gentlemen, I confess to some embarrassment upon this occasion, speaking as I do for the first time in public and in the presence of so distinguished a company. I feel greatly honored by your presence here tonight. A company distinctly representative in its character.
Holy moly, I have so much to say already. Well, let's see if the creator of the video, and by the way, full shout out, a link in the description to Kings and Things. Thank you very much for this video, man. So we'll see what he tells us about this, but I have already noticed a lot of things. First and foremost, goodness gracious, that rolled R would put an Italian to shame. That was great. The overall, as we always say when we listen to recordings from the past, the overall dignity of the way they sound. I'm going to do an actual little bit more of a in-depth analysis of this. But first, let's see what he says.
This is what the guests of Colonel George Guru would have heard on the 5th of October, 1888. That evening, they were invited to an extraordinary dinner that showcased the wonders of modern technology.
Modern.
The host of the event was a machine, and one of the guests attended from the other side of the Atlantic, present only through his disembodied voice.
Yeah.
The invention that made this possible was the phonograph.
Yeah.
Originally unveiled a bit over 10 years earlier by Thomas Edison, it was the first machine capable of both recording and playing back sound.
So basically they took the machine, I guess, from America to England. This is fascinating. Now, for the history, I don't want to take the views from the creator. He put a lot of research into it. So again, I'll put a link in the description. We will only focus on the linguistic analysis. I would like to now listen to the recording again, but I will be pausing it mid-sentence and actually analyze the speech. Let's go. Even the cough sounds Victorian.
My lords and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I confess to some
embarrassment. So as I was saying, we're noticing very strong rolled R's, which I find fascinating. And another thing is that, as you say, it all sounds so dignified and formal. I can't help but wonder, what would we sound to them? Now, given this is once again upper class rich people, which would make it hilarious if you're listening to this in the restroom, as someone pointed out in the comments. But regardless, very upper class. So again, this does not represent the entirety of the population, but we can definitely tell that this is not just a matter of status. This is a matter of century, and there is something to it. Let me see if I can put a finger on it.
upon this occasion.
Occasion. So as we were noticing in the previous video that I posted yesterday, rather than occasion, it's occasion. So it's a lengthened vowel rather than a full diphthong.
Speaking as I do.
Speaking as I do, a rising terminal is a characteristic of at least highly formal speech. So you note how it goes up? As I do, it almost makes it sound like a question, yet it's a statement.
For the first time in public and in the presence of so distinguished a company. I feel greatly honored.
For emphatic depth. He even get greatly honored. Was the H there, or was it had already been dropped in pronunciation? Let me hear.
I feel greatly honored.
Yeah, the H has already disappeared in this word. Fantastic. I wonder how far back you have to go to actually find it fully pronounced, which at one point it was. Interestingly enough, this sort of evolution of pronunciation in language is region dependent. If you think about it, even today in England, the H is fully pronounced in herbs or herb, but it's gone in the American herb. So the H is dropped in that situation. There are lots of scenarios like this.
By your presence here tonight,
Presence.
a company distinctly representative in its character.
Character. No, the short vowel is a full e. Character. Almost sounds Kiwi or Australian up to only that word I meant.
This is what the guests of Colonel...
Okay, so this was fantastic. Fantastic. As we move and skip to minute 14, there is another guest, and if you thought that this was fascinating, oh, yo, wait. So let's go.
One of these recordings was made by Arthur Sullivan, who, showing his wit, but also in a serious vein, prophesied the horrors of mass entertainment.
So we're going to listen to Sir Arthur Sullivan. Just so you know, he's a composer, right? This is a musician, a famous person. Let's see how he speaks.
Little Menlo, October 5th, 1888. From Guru to Edison. Continuation of introduction of friends. Now listen to the voice of Sir Arthur Sullivan.
To the voice. Sorry, I won't interrupt it now. I'll let it play, and then I'll redo it.
Dear Mr. Edison, if my friend Edmund Yates has been a little incoherent, it is in consequence of the excellent dinner and good wine he has drunk. Therefore, I beg you will excuse him. He has his lucid intervals. For myself, I can only say that I am astonished and somewhat terrified at the result of this evening's experiment. Astonished at the wonderful power you have developed, and terrified at the thought that so much hideous bad music may be put on record forever. But all the same, I think it is the most wonderful thing that I have ever experienced, and I congratulate you with all my heart on this wonderful discovery. Arthur Sullivan.
Okay, so we're going to re-listen to it, but already I want you to notice this. Once again, this is like the first recording ever. It would be like you trying some kind of neural chip now, or trying VR for the first time when it actually came out a few years ago. So this is a completely new thing. And one thing that I noticed when it comes to his approach